What is up, everyone? Welcome back to That's Bingo Sports Podcast. I am Joe Hendry. I'm joined by my co-hosts Jacob Beach and Kyle Eggers. Boys, how we doing today?
Beach?
Fantastic. Absolutely electric.
That's what we love to hear. Kyle, how about yourself?
I'm great. I'm repping for my boy.
Your boy World Series.
It's a good day to be a
Shout out World Series.
Shout out to the World Series.
That's good. It's been a while since we've been on. You guys have a good week?
My week is great, dude.
Good.
Outside of us getting beat 10-0 the other night and then getting beat 5-3 the other night, yeah, my week's been good.
All right, good. Glad to hear that. I'm currently in the same house as Kyle right now. Unfortunately, I'm in the same house as him, so I chose to record in a different room mainly because Kyle smells bad.
Not true.
Yes, it is. So hopefully he stays over there for the duration of this recording. And Beach, I know you were watching the Suns preseason game against the Lakers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
although two of the big three are out, which kind of sucks, but Kevin Durant and LeBron James are playing, so that's a win.
Gosh. Apologies ahead of time there, but we'll get some live reactions from Beach there. Hopefully it'll be some electric reactions there. So, but we got a good episode planned ahead for you guys. We'll cover some baseball, talk about some things in the NFL. We got a fun new segment at the end there, so I think we should dive in. What do you guys say?
Let's do
Go
it.
for it. Let's do it.
All right, first up, Ketel Marte. Arizona Dbacks. I mean, don't let the snakes get hot, right, Beach?
Do not let the snakes get hot.
Skol Dbacks. Skol Dbacks. We are so back.
We are so back. We back the Dbacks.
Yes, sir. Kyle is now officially the biggest baseball fan I have ever seen. This is electric, man. Watching baseball with Kyle is awesome.
Kyle has talked more about baseball in the last week than I think he has in his entire life. It's incredible. I don't know where this transformation came from.
Mm-hmm.
I need both of you guys to stop. Okay, first of all.
No,
Second of all, I'm going to read some text messages that I received from Jacob Beach. During so I got a picture to show everybody. This was sent.
For reference, if you're listening and not watching, that was a picture of the Diamondbacks already being eliminated days ago.
Yeah. I then got a text from Beach that said, "I need the NBA to start. I can't take this type of pain." I asked him what stage of grief he was in. He's told me he was in the acceptance stage. I have accepted that we lost this series. Beach, have you lost the series?
I still think we're going to lose the series.
No, you haven't.
But I will say, this game was a great sign. Because I mean, obviously, you lose the series, we're done. And even if we lose tomorrow, I think we're still done. But tonight was a great. Well, I should say this afternoon was a great game. Brandon Pfaadt was incredible. I was telling Joe earlier, like his stuff is electric. I remember like at the trade deadline, I was like, man, we should maybe trade this guy because he hasn't looked great in his starts. He's got like a 7 ERA, and we could get like a bigger name in here that has got some experience that could really help us down the stretch run. And he is proving me wrong. I mean, he pitched great against the Dodgers. He pitched great again tonight. I think Torrey shouldn't have taken him out. He was cruising. And it kind of got us into a little bit of trouble. Unfortunately, we were able to limit the Phillies to 1 run. But, man, what a great outing from him. And then Ketel Marte, I mean, nothing else you can really say about him. He's hit in every single postseason game he's ever played in. He's on like a 12-game hitting streak there, showing that today. So he's been incredible. He's really carrying the offense right now and just squeaking out a win. I mean, it wasn't a great performance. Definitely wasn't like the Phillies the other night when they beat us 10-0. But, man, doesn't matter in the playoffs. Just get it done.
Yeah, I was a little worried there when in the bottom of the ninth when Gurriel got to third and then infield in, they got him out at home. And I was telling Kyle, I was like a little nervous. And Payman Smith obviously didn't go to third, but hey, it didn't matter. It did not matter at all. So you love to see it. Go Dbacks there, dude.
Yeah, big win.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun too. Kind of explaining. Kyle was asking me. I was telling him a little bit about Alec Baum and his at bat against Paul Sewald. It was so clear that Baum was sitting breaking ball. You could tell he was late to the fastball and trying to foul it off, sitting breaking ball. And he was like, "How do you even coach that or explain that or something like that?" And I was like, "I don't really know. It's just." But it's been cool seeing Kyle's interest in baseball grow and the transformation in front of our eyes, baby.
Kyle is a bona fide baseball fan now.
This is not true. Baseball is not a sport still, but
we are getting him a jersey.
We are 1,000%.
Otani's going to the Diamondbacks.
Okay, wait a minute there.
Okay, maybe not.
There, Beach. That's
but
jumping
if he did, we could get him a jersey.
We could.
Okay, I'll get a jersey if Otani goes to the Diamondbacks.
All right.
That's good. We're holding you to that right there.
All right.
For sure.
Handshake. Handshakes all around.
Houston and Texas. Right now, that's 2-1. Rangers, they are up. Last I checked, the Astros were winning game 4, like 7-3 or something like that, so they're looking to tie it up. They're not going away for sure. That is a pretty good series. So go Rangers there. Hopefully my prediction comes true.
Can we just talk about how big time it is that the Astros went to Texas and are going to steal the first 2 games after they lost home field advantage, basically?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I mean, that's huge. And granted, I don't expect anything less from a team with the postseason experience they have. I was listening to the game on my way home from work, and they were saying that Altuve and Bregman have now passed another duo in all-time postseason appearances. Do you guys want to make a guess as to who those 2 are that they
Babe
passed?
Ruth and Hank Aaron.
Wow, that was horrible. Okay, Joe, do you have a guess?
For some reason, the first name that came to mind was Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz.
Ooh, good guess.
Wait. Can I guess one more?
I don't know if I want to let you, but go ahead.
Hewlett and Packard.
Nerd and Wallet. Got it. Okay. No, it was Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter. So
yeah,
think of all the years those guys were in the postseason together, and they passed them. It's pretty incredible.
Well, Altuve just hit like his 25th career postseason home run, which is good for like second all time.
Yeah,
which is super weird.
He's almost got the lead.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that. Like we are in real time witnessing postseason history for how long these guys have been successful. It's super fun.
Yeah, definitely.
The Astros just hit a home run. They're up 7-3.
7-3. All right.
At the time of us recording this, so it looks like they may tie that series up.
Yeah, no, that'll be a fun series, man. Division rivals there. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be that. Those are 2 really good teams duking it out. So, well, that's baseball. We'll move on. Next up, we obviously got the NFL. Boys, I got one couple things I want to talk about. First thing though, I think is kind of scoring around the NFL is down this year. I forget the unders have been hitting at like an unprecedented rate. Right, there's just been not a lot of touchdowns kind of going around this year, and I know this is Beach's dream, considering he loves defense.
7-6, baby. That's all we need.
I hate it so much. It makes me so angry. But I want to know what you guys think. Why is scoring down around the NFL? Because it confuses me. Because we're an offensive league. We're trying to throw the ball.
The NFL is an offensive league. We are not an offensive league.
Okay.
We are not a league.
This is true. The NFL is an offensive league. Why is scoring down around the NFL? That's the ultimate question.
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I don't have.
Okay. I think that right now there's a couple. I'm going to say there's like 2 or 3 teams that I think can just move the ball and get chunk plays at will, and it's the Dolphins, the Lions, and I think the Niners. I think other than those 3 teams, there's not really a team that's going to like consistently have 20, 30-yard gains like multiple times within a quarter.
Are you not going to put the Chiefs, like because the Chiefs and the Bills up there?
Honestly, based on this season, not really. Like Pat Mahomes has the same stats as like freaking, I don't know, Jeff Driscoll, Beach Bingo. But
that's got to be a bingo. He's on the Cardinals practice squad.
I apologize for that.
Anyway, I distracted you. Keep going.
That was something I would say.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what that was, but yeah. I mean, just with them two, like not really. They both haven't looked like themselves to start the season, and I think it's probably just, if I had to guess with the Chiefs, I think it's just their experience showing. They're just gonna get hot when they need to get hot and slowly heat up throughout the year. But the Bills, I don't know. But I still think it's just those three teams that have put up chunk plays, and like the stats show it. But the rest of the league is just like it's just been wildly inconsistent. So I have no idea. It's above my pay grade. But Beach, our defensive in-house guru, what do you think?
I think it's a little bit of two things. I think one, defenses are just getting a little bit more accustomed to defending these high-powered offenses. Because I mean, you go into any week and it's like the quarterback's going to be elite. I think we live in a time where quarterback play is at the best it's ever been, like across the league. Like when you look at 1 through 32, just compared to the league, even 10, 15 years ago. No longer is it just, your typical 5 to 6 elite guys. Like obviously we have that threshold still, and we have the tiers where we have a lot of elite quarterbacks. But more and more, we're seeing a lot of guys that jump up into that very good, that very good tier. But defenses are going against it every week, so now they've kind of accustomed to stopping it, basically. So I think that's part of it. And then we were talking about this the other day. I think quarterback play across the league this year hasn't been very, very good. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that are elite that haven't looked elite. Patrick Mahomes is one of them. Justin Herbert the other night looked horrible on Monday night. Joe was talking about how that's probably the first loss, like physically, on Justin Herbert in a long time. Lamar Jackson's had his moments. There's other quarterbacks that have, Jalen Hurts hasn't really been anything great. I mean, he struggled against the Jets the other day. So, these quarterbacks that we've come to see, elite play week after week, I mean, they've really been struggling this year for whatever reason that is. And so I think defenses play a part in that, but I think they're just not playing up to the level that they can.
Can I ask
and that's why scoring's down.
Let me ask you both a question. Do you think it's that the offenses aren't that good, or that the defenses are that good?
I have an answer to that. I think it's a shift in defensive philosophy around the NFL. We've talked. I mean, there's been the thing about red zone offense has been a big thing for years, right? And I think that defense is starting to counter that, where they're like, we're willing to give up yards between the 20s, and I think that's proven by you still got plenty of people putting up stats. Like there's passing yards everywhere. There's rushing yards, receiving yards everywhere. But then once you get into the 20s, I think defenses have really accepted and really embraced the idea of a bend but don't break defense, where it's like we'll give you within the 20. We're going to take away the big plays, the 60, 50, 60, 70 yards. And we're gonna really bear down when it comes in.
Bear down?
Bear down, Arizona.
I should have seen that one coming, man. We are gonna hunker down inside the 20 and not give up touchdowns. So that's what I see. Is these teams really changing their philosophy a little bit and not just trying to run the same defensive game plan really all throughout the entire game. It's really a game that's between the goal line and the 20s now, is kind of what I see.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. If you limit the big plays and you force these teams to put together 10, 15 play drives, that just makes it so much harder, because offenses are just bound to have a penalty. They're bound to have a negative play that puts them behind the chains, and then that gives the advantage to the defense in that sense. So I think Joe's spot on. When you limit big plays and you don't give up those chunk plays like you were talking about earlier, Kyle, it just puts you in such a good spot to just force the offense to kind of play where you want them to play.
Yeah, I have one more thought on this, but I just putting it in like as simple of a form as I can. Like I feel like I can think of like maybe 10 to 15 teams that I could feel pretty confident to be like they have a good defense. But I can't think of even close to the same amount of teams where I'm like, oh yeah, like that defense is bad. Like I can think of like maybe like 3. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the defense is just, like to Joe's point, they've just gotten better at it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, those guys on the other side of the ball, they're getting paid just like the offensive players are.
Yep.
And they're not going to lay down and roll over and just be like, oh yeah, you guys go and score, right? They're getting paid to play. So I mean, that's a cliche thing to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. But kind of moving on, we had the last 2 undefeated teams this past week. The Niners and the Eagles go down. So that's pretty fun. I did not expect either of those. I feel
Nope.
like the Browns felt reasonable to beat the Niners. Like they have a very good defense, but it still didn't seem like it's like that was at all possible, especially with PJ Walker starting. But the Jets, man, that was a pretty big upset there. I am going to use this time to return to my take from last week about the Eagles.
Oh no,
System quarterback
being overrated. They are not actual Super Bowl contenders. Very good team. They'll make the NFC Championship because the NFC is a joke. But I just want to say that I feel validated this week. I don't know how long it'll last, but for now, I feel good.
I thought you were going to take that to the Zach Wilson conversation, and I was about ready to.
Do you want to have that conversation, Beach?
No.
We can have that conversation.
No.
My answer is still going to be the same answer it was last week.
Okay, I still think Zach Wilson is bad.
Can I just explain a story? Can I just explain a story to the people?
No,
Yes,
Joe
please.
texts me and he's like, "Yeah, Zach Wilson's playing pretty decent, huh?" And I'm like, "Joe, they have 12 points. Like, are we going to call it? Like, what are our bars for success now?"
Hey, I gotta try to.
Holy cow!
I gotta try to make things interesting, right? No, the question. I guess my question though is, I want to return to it again from last week. Can the Jets make the playoffs? With
Anyone
Wilson.
can make the playoffs.
Can the Jets make the playoffs with Wilson? Beach, you said no last week. After this game, are you moved at all? I'm just curious.
Not really. I think there's a chance.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put any money on it. I don't feel confident that they will, just because I think 9 times out of 10, Zach Wilson is not going to put them in a position to win a game. And we kind of saw how they have to win the game, right?
Yep.
The other team has to be, their defense is good enough to where they can hold other teams, even with good offenses like we saw with Philly, to like 14 points, keep them, out of the end zone. But at the same time, I just don't think Zach Wilson is going to put that offense in a position to win very many games. So if the defense isn't holding them to 14 to 20 points, they're going to lose that game. And so that's just why I don't think they're in a position to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I was just curious of I wonder. I would agree with you. I don't think the Jets will make it. For all the things that have been said, I don't think Zach Wilson's a good quarterback. I think he's had a decent streak for his standards. But I'm just curious to know if they could 2015 Peyton Manning Broncos defense their way to the playoffs, where he led the league in picks and they still won the bowl.
At his worst and Zach Wilson at his best, there is a 1 million mile gap in skill between those two people.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I love that you're trying to push this narrative, but I don't think I will ever be able to get behind Zach Wilson.
I'm not trying to push any narrative. I'm just interested to see if it's possible. That's what excites me. All right, that's enough of that. Moving on, let's go to our teams, boys. Kyler Murray back at practice.
Short King.
He is back at Beach. Let's talk about it.
I love
How
that,
you feeling?
I feel great. I knew he was going to come back at some point, but still seeing that tweet that, oh yeah, he's practicing today. I mean, that injected life back into me with this Cardinals team. I was so sick of watching Josh Dobbs play football at this point.
You can't say that about Dobbs, man. There's no way.
I love the Pastronaut, but
God.
The what?
Hold on. Okay, Josh Dobbs worked at NASA, for everyone that doesn't know that.
Yeah, he's a rocket scientist.
They call him the Pastronaut.
Is he a pastor?
No, that's not. No. Anyways, I was just tired of watching Josh.
Pass.
You're an idiot. Yes.
I was thinking pastor, not like I'm a church too.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow. I need new friends, I think.
Oh,
wow.
man.
That was something. Anyways, I was just tired of watching him throw the football. We can get into the Cardinals-Rams game a little bit, but he had 2 shots to Hollywood Brown in the first half that if that ball is on the money, it's 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it's just he throws one just a little bit too short, gets knocked away by the DB, and the other one he throws too far to the sideline and throws him out of bounds. And that's the type of thing, for all the hate that Kyler gets, Kyler's making those throws. And so I'm just happy to see he's practicing. Him and Budda Baker. I mean, that brings your 2 leaders on both sides of the ball back. So I'm just ready for them to get out there and see if they can salvage a little bit of this season.
Can I offend Mr. Beach?
Oh, gosh.
I have such a good comp that I've been sitting on for like a year.
Uh-oh.
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
It's going to be a double beach bingo, triple B's. So,
Real
That'd be
quick, can I interrupt? LeBron's on his
DBB.
knees in this preseason game crying already, so
all right.
It's Kyle's
Doing-
Kyle's
He's in
favorite thing.
mid-season form.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't even think he got touched.
Stop watching the Suns.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Beach, that's bingo. Come on, dude.
That's my bad.
Okay, here we go. I think I have an NBA player comp for Kyler.
Let's hear it.
Uh-oh.
DeAndre Ayton. I think one, probably because they have a similar KD. One, that being said, like I think that they're both kind of divas. I can't lie to you, Beach. I'm sorry. I think that they both were supposed to be generational talents, number 1 overall picks type, And then number 3, like I just don't think that. I think that all of the skills and the talent are there, but I think that it's a mindset thing where it's just like everybody that's played with Kyler has been like he doesn't like have a vocal command in the locker room, and everybody that's played with DeAndre Ayton has been like, yeah, this guy's charming, ultra soft. So that's my comp. It's kind of a hot take, Beach. I hope that you're not mad at me, but what do you think?
I get the take. I just think it's an uneducated take from someone that hasn't really watched Kyler Murray, to be fair.
No.
I'm
I
basing
can
this off of that playoff game against the Rams.
100%. And he's also basing it off of the Call of Duty tweets on Twitter that Barstool posts every week and they still think are funny.
Yes.
I get the comp because, right, both of them were number 1 picks. Both of them seemingly have underachieved. But what I will say, Kyler was put into a position where he had to carry the Cardinals franchise for 4 years. He had to carry Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim, who was a horrible roster builder, and he carried them to the playoffs in double-digit wins. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's been perfect because he hasn't. I think he can be a better leader. I think he has, especially when he was younger, wasn't a good leader, didn't take control of the locker room. I think he kind of pushed people away, and he can be abrasive and rough. At the same time, he was in a horrible, horrible situation. Whereas I think DeAndre Ayton, I mean, after his rookie year, Chris Paul comes in, Devin Booker's there, and he gets put into a great situation. Now, granted, it just wasn't the situation he wanted. He wants to go out there and get 20, 25 shots a game and just do his thing. And it was never going to be that way. But he was in a great situation. They had a great coach. They had great talent around him. If he would have just bought into his role and did what he was supposed to do, the Suns are probably NBA champions right now, in my opinion. But lo and behold, DeAndre Ayton kind of faltered. Whereas I think we're going to see Kyler Murray come out this year and he's going to rise up.
Rise up, Red Sea.
Yes, rise up, Red Sea. He's going to take control of this team because I think there's been a mindset shift, I think, in him that I've subtly noticed, and I think a lot of other fans are kind of seeing that. I think this time away from football has really showed him that he misses the game and just how important it is to him and that he wants to get back to it. So I'm really excited to see him get back out on the field.
Did he talk to him?
Yeah, I'm with Beach there. I 100% think that I love Kyler. I think he is one of the top talents at quarterback in the game, easy top 10. I think he's going to come back and show that. I'm super excited to see him in this system too. Like if Josh Dobbs can look like a decent NFL quarterback at times in this offense, I'm like, what is Kyler Murray going to be able to do? Hollywood Brown's stock through the roof as well. Like they're
100%.
homies. I'm excited to see Michael Wilson will be a lot of fun there. I think they're trying to get Trey McBride a little bit more involved in the offense. Is kind of what I saw this past week. So it'll be a good time, man.
I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter, and they were saying it'll be nice to watch Kyler with a coaching staff that is trying to support him and build the offense around him instead of it being where Kyler, go save us, we need you, like be a superhero every single play. And that's what it was with Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, Cliff just put him out there and said, Kyler, go be special, instead of being like, Kyler, here's how we're going to make you thrive in a system where you look special. And I think that's the key difference.
I remember that game against the Raiders. Was it like early last year?
Mm-hmm.
Where like it was entirely on his back that they won. Yep. I mean, they went down early, and I'm really excited to see him. I think it'll be fun to see him shut up some haters, like you, Kyle.
Yes.
All right, moving on. The Rams offense looked pretty potent this past week. Again, it was against the Cardinals. There were a couple touchdowns that were dropped, so it could have been worse. That being said, Cooper Kupp is still very good. The Rams line hasn't been as bad as I thought it would be, but their running back situation is looking pretty brutal. Kyle, kind of where are the Rams going at this point in the season? Where are we at?
Yeah, we are getting a one-way ticket to 9-8, baby. All aboard.
Bring back Jeff Fisher.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, team has like some exciting pieces. Like Kupp being back is cool, but like we're not gonna do anything. Like I wish that obviously it was exciting seeing my football team win a football game against another football team that's also playing football. But yeah, I don't know. The more I watch this team, it's just like so clear that we're like side characters this year in the NFL script, and so I'm just gonna ride it out, enjoy our 9 wins, and cry during our 8 losses, and wait till next year. Yeah, like we don't have the offensive firepower. We don't have a good defense at all. We're just like middle of everything. We're just mid. We are mid. I am mid.
It'll be interesting to see because, like, obviously the NFC isn't super deep. Like, I wonder. I bet they could sneak in with like a wild card bid or something like that. And who knows? I mean, they're one of those teams where if they get hot for a game, they could probably pull off an upset the wild card round.
I wouldn't want to see the Rams in the playoffs. Like, I don't think that they're gonna like do anything, but I could see them pulling off like a first round upset. Like if I'm the Eagles or even the Niners, especially because they're divisional, I would not want to play the Rams. So after whoever's playing us next, I would want to play the Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be interesting. I'm just curious to know. I mean, they picked up Myles Gaskin. They called up Royce Freeman. Darrell Henderson's back. Obviously, Zach Evans is still there. Like, who's going to take the reins? Is it going to be a 4-man rotation? I feel my money would be on Darrell Henderson just with his familiarity with the system, and McVay seems to trust him for some reason. But I have no idea.
I just hope that we like let Zach cook. Like we have nothing really to lose. Like let him go out there and fall on his face a few times and just get used to the NFL because he could be really good. He was sick in college, so I thought that he was going to be like our rookie on offense that would break out. Definitely not Puka, and here I am. But I mean we have a pretty young like offensive skill like group of players. So it's kind of fun. I think it'd be cool if he does some.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I like Puka, but dude, he's like the main reason why we haven't tanked completely in our dynasty league. Yeah. We have a dynasty league, and we were trying to tank. Our team is so young and so bad, and we're 2-4 and projected to win this week, which is awful.
We are.
Yeah, I mean we're going against another pretty terrible team, but yeah, Puka single-handedly won. That's like 2 weeks by himself. It's really annoying. But anyway, any other thoughts on the Rams, Kyle? Beach, you have anything?
Nope.
Cool. Well, moving on to the Chargers.
Whoa!
Irrelevant. Skip.
It was. I would love to skip this, boys, if you would let me, but I doubt.
Nope.
I doubt you.
We're gonna hold your feet to the fire.
I know.
I have stats after you're done crying.
Oh my
Dolphins
gosh.
fans are waiting for this.
Dolphins fans are waiting, man. I think I've accepted. I don't even say accepted. I think I've realized that this team isn't very good. I think that's where we're at. It's for years it's always been the Chargers have a lot of talent. They just never do anything with it, which has been the truth. This year, I think it's different. We just don't have a lot of talent. I think like genuinely good players on this roster are Herbert, Rashawn Slater, Old Man Keenan, and Tutu Atwell. Like everybody else is overpaid and doesn't produce or is just not good. And I mean, I'd probably throw Asante Samuel in there, but dude, they're just not good. And I think that showed. They don't have the depth to keep up. It was a brutal loss to the Cowboys. I mean, that first drive had me so excited. I was like, this is a Kellen Moore revenge game. They just marched down, scored easily. And then it just went all downhill from there. They just looked terrible. The defense played surprisingly okay until the last drive that the Cowboys had when they gave up like 3 third and longs. I just like the moment gets too big for them. and it's just like we're 10-7 feels like the best case scenario for this team. 8 to 9 wins feels very realistic. I wouldn't even put like 6 to 7 past them. So I think there's a wide range, but this team is just not very good. Their talent is very low. Their levels are low this year, and they just don't have the depth to keep up. And I think I have accepted that. And it's time to
until next Sunday.
And until next Sunday against the Chiefs. Yes. No, I think it's time to reset. I think it starts with Telesco. That dude, Tom Telesco, our GM, is terrible. I'm sick and tired of him, the way that he has built this roster. He has hit on, the amount of draft picks he's had over the past 10 years that he has hit on is just so minimal. And he doesn't do anything to address actual weaknesses. He goes after players in portions of the team that like we don't need. We had weaknesses at safety this year, and he didn't get anybody, and we're struggling now. We just had our safety tear his ACL. I don't know. I don't want to say my hope is lost, because I do think that we have a great quarterback in place, which does accelerate a rebuild. But overall, I think it's time to reset.
Joe, I have some statistics for you that were thrown at Chargers fans, and I wanted to hear your take on them.
I want to hear it.
So I have a couple. First one, I don't want you to respond to the end, but just try to hold back your tears.
Oh, wait.
Since entering the NFL in 2020, no quarterback has thrown more fourth quarter interceptions than Justin Herbert. I have one more. Justin Herbert is 27-27 in his career as a starter. He is 21-4 when his defense holds the opponent under 27 points, and he is 6-23 otherwise. And then lastly, Justin Herbert threw his 13th career interception in the fourth quarter of a one-score game, which is 5 more than any other quarterback in the NFL since 2020. Is Justin Herbert are these cherry-pick stats, or do you think that Herbert is not as clutch as he is perceived by the general public?
Yeah, that one's a really interesting debate. Actually, that was my next my next question was talking about Herbert, because I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. But it's tough. I think the main stat that stands out to me is that what was his record when his defense has given up fewer than 28 points?
Yes, I'll read it again. It is Herbert's 27-27 as the starter. He's 21-4 when the defense holds an opponent under 27 points. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's 6-23.
Yeah. Okay, so that stat to me, I think, is the most telling one, where it's to me, I think it's the wrong question to ask. I think it's like, is Herbert the problem? Because what I see in response to that is Herbert's 14 game-winning drives, 11 fourth quarter comebacks to win the game, right? So it's like neck and neck equal. To me, that's unbelievable. It's like he's got, I don't know how many games that you mentioned there where he's thrown interception to lose the game. It's like 13 or something like that. But he has the same amount of game-winning drives, where to me, it's like that just means that he's in the situation to have to be the superhero every single game, right? If his defense has given up under 28, which is 4 touchdowns, which feels like a reasonable request for a defense, he wins 21 out of 25 games. That feels like a pretty good ratio to me, as opposed to when your defense gives up more than 4 touchdowns, which is a problem. You're more often than not going to lose, and that forces your quarterback to have to be perfect, right? He was 6 and what?
6-21.
Yeah. So 6-20. I mean, to me, that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, he's not clutch or anything like that. I think he is forced to be perfect in almost every single game, or else they will lose. And I feel like that's a lot to ask of a quarterback for me. That being said, he's a star quarterback. He has to come through, right? So that's something I will give, is like, your guy has to come through, right? That's one of the strengths of Mahomes. I think Josh Allen this past week played an ugly game. He came through in the end. He was a superhero when the Bills needed him to be. Herbert was not, right? And I'm more than willing to say that. I do at the same time think, though, that those are somewhat cherry pick stats in a vacuum, where it's like, what is the situation, right? it's a tough situation, unfortunately. And then you can talk about last year where it's like he had a down year. It's like the reality of the situation is he played with broken ribs. That's not an excuse. That is a reason. That's how I see it. And obviously I am biased. I think that two things can be true. I think that it is not entirely on Herbert, and the narrative around him being clutch is unfair and untrue. But also, he's put in those situations and probably has to come through more for this team to win more games. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'll probably have more to say as I continue to think it through. But Beach, you seem to be thinking.
I just keep going back to that playoff game, and I know that's not fair because the defense has a part to play in that too. But like you said, he's got to come through when it matters most. In that game, he just didn't. And so, while I don't think it's a indication of how he is for his entire career or what it's going to look like, but like that's just like a stain on your record, like blowing that lead. And I know, like we talked about, that defense blew the lead, but at the same time, like the offense faltered so much in that second half. I mean, you just needed to put together one good drive and you win that game. Yeah. And so I still think he's elite. He does all the things that you want a quarterback to do. Just like you said, when your defense is playing just even average, I mean, he's winning 21 out of 25 games, and that's ridiculously good. Obviously, there's times where he hasn't looked good, and it's always in crucial moments or at the end of games, and so those are what people tend to remember. And so I think it's more of a stigma that he just has to combat and kind of get rid of than it is actually like a narrative or a tale that is any truth about his game.
Yeah, I think there are two games that have built the Justin Herbert narrative or stigma, as you said, Beach. It's the playoff game against the Jags, right? Where again, that offense was stifled in the second half, right? And I think there's so many reasons for that. Herbert wasn't his best. I'm more than willing to admit that he didn't play great that second half. We had no run game. I think we ran for like 8 yards in the second half of that playoff game. Like, you're just not going to win like that. The defense, obviously, they faltered there. That's one game that has built the Herbert narrative. And I think the second one, though, which I think really encapsulates the Herbert experience, the Chargers experience as a whole, is the Raiders game the year before. Where it is the end of the game, and Herbert played wonderfully. And then that last fourth quarter drive, man, where he completed fourth and long after fourth and long after fourth and long, being on the run, being mobile, firing that touchdown to tie the game. And then honestly, like almost leading, I think he led a drive at the end to where they ended up kicking a field goal to tie the game, and the Raiders went down and kicked another field goal at the end off of a terrible showing by the defense and Staley's really stupid timeout he called. To me, that game shows the Chargers experience, where it's like, if Herbert was not perfect, he was near perfect. Like, if perfect is a 10, he was a 9.5, and they lost the game because of it. Which is why I get so worked up over a lot of these narratives, which I'm like, people are not scared of criticizing Herbert, particularly Chargers fans. What we want people to understand is that he is put in impossible situations more than any other quarterback in the NFL. So that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, just kind of like we talked about Kyler too, the same type of thing where he's forced to carry that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
If Herbert doesn't play well, you guys don't win.
Yeah.
And so that's just like you said, he has to be a superhero. And even when he's a superhero, they can still lose.
Yeah.
that's what's tough.
He threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and it took a defensive stop against the Vikings to win that game. Yeah. When that dude's balling out, they go for a fourth down, which I loved the call. The play call was terrible. Like, go for it, but put the ball in Herbert's hands, let him win the game, and then they almost lost still. You know, so there's a lot there. We could probably go several episodes with me just going on about it.
Podcast
about we could do. We could start one just about Herbert, but overall, I think he's elite.
You could.
Yes, I could, and you guys could all listen. I think he's still elite. I still have a lot of hope. Like I remember telling Beach a couple years ago, for the first time in a long time, I felt this team had actual Super Bowl chances every single year because of one player. And that's a good feeling to have. And I understand that this team is not very good, and it's probably going to take a couple years. but I know that I have a stud at the most important position in the league for however long his contract is, and that's going to give us a shot every single game.
Yep. I mean, I think I never even shared my thoughts on the stats. I think I agree with you for the most part, Joe. Like, I think that if you were a Chargers fan and you're chanting about how Herbert's the problem, if Herbert left, you would immediately be like, okay, like we need somebody like Herbert back.
We would win 3 games without Herbert.
Yeah, you guys would be cooked. So like I think that he's overhated, and I think that he's the type of quarterback that as soon as you guys get the right pieces around him, like you will win like games in the teens. You will make it to an AFC championship. Yeah. Like I think that he's still the guy, but he's just like, to your point, he's kind of gotten the short end of the stick.
Yeah, which is fine. And like, again, people always say like, oh, he's the next Phillip Rivers. I'm like, dude, like if he ends up with a career like Phillip Rivers, I don't think anybody's necessarily complaining. Like that dude was awesome for us. You know, it's meant as a dig. I understand it, but we live in an era where expectations for quarterbacks are so high that if they are not up there every single time, immediately they are bad. And I'm like,
Joe, you're in a toxic relationship with the San Diego Chargers.
I am. I always have been, and it's terrible. That is enough about that, though. Unless you guys have more.
Nope,
I do not.
All right. Well, moving on, I have a really cool question for you guys. This question was inspired by our buddy Aaron Noller. Shout out Aaron Noller. No. Second shout out here on this podcast. So
that is too many.
It's a Caleb Williams question. So I'm curious to know you guys. I'm just want to know in terms of quarterbacks. Who? I mean, it's a popular question. Who are, I guess, the quarterbacks that you would not take Williams over? To me, I have 6 guys where I'm like, there's no shot I take Williams, and then there's 5 after that where I would teeter and be quite unsure, and then there's a breaking point.
Can I clarify? I have a clarification question. Is this for the rest of their careers, for the one season, or like what are we talking?
I think we should go like rest of career.
Okay. Okay. Beach, do you know off the top of your head?
I can go. I can start with mine if you guys want.
Well, I was just gonna say off the top of my head, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. Who else is in
Kyler.
the NFL? No, not Kyler. I would put Trevor Lawrence up there right now.
Wow.
That's 4.
Kirk.
I feel like I'm leaving people out.
I would go. Here's my friend. I would go Mahomes, Allen, Lawrence, Herbert, Lamar, and gosh, now I'm forgetting one.
Burrow. You forgot Burrow.
Burrow would be my 6th. So those are the one guys that I'm not taking Williams over them. They are my quarterback. I don't care who Caleb Williams is. They are my guy.
I like
now
that.
There are 5 after who it would be very difficult for me to part with them. And those guys are Hurts, Kyler, Tua, Richardson, and Stroud. Those 5 guys, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I don't know if I would take Kyler.
Caleb.
That's what I mean, Caleb, yeah.
I don't. You're really putting Richardson and Stroud like you would think about it?
Here's my reasoning why. Caleb Williams, I think, will be great. Everybody thinks he will be great. We don't know.
That's fair.
Right? Stroud and Richardson have shown their ability that they can keep up. They can hang in the NFL. And that's what I value. It's like, I understand that Williams might be better than all 5 of them. He might be better than every guy on that list. He could be better than Burrow. He could be better than Herbert. Who knows? But what I want is a quarterback who has shown that he can be an NFL star. And I just don't know about Caleb. So those 11 guys that I laid out, the first 6 for sure no. The last 5, it's like, I don't think so. And then right after those 5, here's some interesting, is Jared Goff. Or I think he's the breaking point where I would say that is hard for me to give up Goff, but I would take the potential Williams has over him and everybody else below.
Can I cook on this?
Go for it.
All right. I think that there's 7 guys. I think it's your first 7. It's Joe. It's literally your first 6, except for adding Jalen Hurts. It's Mahomes. It's Allen. It's Burrow. It's Herbert. It's Lamar, and it's Jalen Hurts. I'm not not super sold on Trevor Lawrence. I think he's great, but I think that Caleb Williams can be better. But for like the Stroud and the Richardsons, I'm putting them down like a sick dog. I am getting Caleb Williams. Like I just like putting them side by side. I just view them all pretty much in like the same era almost. You know what I mean? And like I just don't think that. Well, I think that those two could be very solid players, like maybe even great players. I just don't think that they have close to the ceiling. And so, for the sake of the question, like for upside, I'm taking Caleb Williams over both of those guys. And it's pretty much Jalen Hurts and above. Like I'm taking him over everybody else. Beach, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at too. Like if you were to put Caleb Williams in last year's draft class, he goes number 1.
Oh yeah.
And like that's just like that shows you just the type of upside that he has. I will agree with Joe in the sense like he is still an unknown. Like you really don't know what he's going to turn into. But I mean, the tools he flashes every single Saturday are incredible. And I'm with Kyle. I think it's that 7 for me too. Maybe 8 if we throw Lawrence into that. And
do you throw Lawrence into that or no?
I do. I personally am very high on Lawrence.
Wow.
I just think Trevor Lawrence, like, first of all, again, he goes to a terrible situation historically in Jacksonville.
Fair.
Gets into the playoffs, has looked good. I only think he's going to get better. I've been high on him ever since his freshman year at Clemson. I just think he's that dude. So, for me, I would put him into that group, but it's close. He's like the cutoff line, and then anything below that, I think you can make a case that it's the right decision to go with Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Good take, Beach.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I'm fascinated to see how he turns out because obviously, I think he's going to be very good.
I think the interesting thing is like you're going to have all these teams at the top of the draft, the Cardinals, the Bears, who have these high drafted quarterbacks, and they're going to be sitting there going, okay, do we get rid of those guys for Caleb Williams, or do we stick with what we have? Yeah. And I think it's going to be very fascinating to see how that all works out and like which side of the fence people fall on.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. Yeah, I remember Beach. Part of the reason why I named some of those guys. I remember Beach told me one time, and it's stuck with me forever. And the way that I see things is like once you give up your guy, you're going to be looking for the next guy that is going to try to meet that, right? And I think he talked about that with Kyler. It was mainly with Kyler in that context. But I mean, I think that falls under like Dak Prescott, right? I think he's a good example of this. Where I don't think Dak is amazing. I think Dak's a good quarterback. I've told Beach this for years. I think Dak gets the job done more often than not. But people hate him, right? And I think there's good reason there. But as soon as the Cowboys get rid of Dak, you're looking for the next guy who can even produce as good as him. That doesn't come very often, you know? So that's, I think, a lot of the reasoning that I listed those extra 5 guys where I'm like, I would teeter. I wouldn't be 100% sure about giving up the production I have now for the potential of an unknown. But at the same time, it's like I could be very wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I like it.
Cool thought experiment. Any more on that?
I want to run the award.
All right. Well, we got a new segment for you here. It's called the Tutu Atwell Award. Kyle, why is it called the Tutu Atwell Award?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Joe. The Tutu Atwell Award. I need to tell you guys a story for this to make sense. Tutu Atwell, when the Rams drafted Tutu Atwell, pretty much it was like either Sean McVay's highest draft pick he had ever had or like top 2. And we took a 5'9" receiver that weighed 120 pounds with our highest draft pick in like 4 years. And so naturally, when he sucked his rookie year, I did not like Tutu Atwell. I called him poo-poo ass smell.
That is a Kyle bingo, by the way.
True. But he proved me wrong this year. I was not familiar with his game. I thought that he was a bust. And so this is the Tutu Atwell I was not familiar with your game award. For players that you had written off, shout out Geno Smith, and they did not write back. Joe,
that's awesome. Well, my first one, I was thinking, we mentioned him a little earlier. I was going to go with Brandon Fott. I know Beach was thinking about him too. I'll go with my second option, just because we already mentioned him. But shout out Fott. He played awesome. He pitched great. I'm looking forward to his career at the D-backs. But my Tutu Atwell Award winner is CJ Stroud.
Ooh, good one.
I will go on record and say I have been astronomically wrong about CJ Stroud so far. I thought he was Mac Jones coming into the NFL. And Stroud has cooled off a little bit the past couple games, but he still played exceptionally well for a Houston team that was expected to be terrible. He looks the part of an NFL quarterback, which is awesome. He's big, he's strong, he stands in the pocket, he's been accurate. He's been moving around in the pocket, being mobile. He's only got 1 pick to 9 touchdowns. He's top 5 in passing yards. CJ Stroud, I owe you an apology. I was not familiar with your game.
That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
I love that. Beach, do you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go. I hope you guys are ready for a horrendous bingo.
Oh, no.
Mine is Grayson Allen.
Bingo! Oh my God! Already preseason
canceled. How do I remove Beach from this?
No, I cannot be removed from this. We are this? 5 preseason games in.
Oh
like
my gosh.
4.5 basically.
Holy!
I'm fully on the Grayson Allen bandwagon. This early. I hated him at Duke. Obviously, the whole tripping thing. Like
everybody hated him at Duke.
Well, yeah, everybody hates Grayson.
America hated him at Duke.
Well, America still hates him. However, he's a very good basketball player. Like when we got him in the trade, I was like, okay, he's solid. I didn't realize how good he is. Like he's a very good 3-point shooter. He's playing very well on defense. I'm in. I'm sold. Like I'm on the Grayson Allen hype train. I'm sorry. He's going to be up there with my favorite Suns players.
You are
straight to jail. Straight to jail, Beach.
No, guys, you got to hear me out. This is the classic case. No, you can hear me out. This is the classic case of this is a player you hate when they're not on your team, but you love when they're on your team.
Yes, I don't care.
I don't even know what to say right now. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
So Grayson Allen, you get my Tutu Atwell Award for I was not familiar with your game.
This is the last time we're doing this award.
Enough of that. Kyle, give us yours.
Let me gather myself.
Oh, man.
Okay. My Tutu Atwell Award has been one that's been years in the making, actually.
Is it Tutu Atwell?
No. You won the first one.
Oh.
Beach, you're actually going to be surprised by this.
Oh, no.
Mine's Jared Goff.
Wow.
No way.
Jared Goff.
Known hater of Jared Goff.
Wow. This is...
Okay. So...
I don't know what to do.
Record, Kyle was dancing in the streets when he was traded.
Dude, I think I I jumped in the air and clicked my heels together when we traded him. But so this is probably the biggest Tutu Atwell Award recipient since Tutu Atwell. This could be a name change type award. But anyways, for context, I think that Jared Goff is a good, not great quarterback. Okay? But watching him I feel like the Lions are America's second favorite team. Like everybody wants to root for the Lions. And seriously, I saw a stat over Jared Goff's last 17 games. He has thrown 67% completion percentage, 4,500 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns to only 4 picks. And the Lions are 13-4 in those games. Like, you can't argue with that. You know what I mean? Like, he's good. He is a good quarterback. And do I think that the Rams made the right move by trading him? 100%. Do I think that the Lions have a guy in Jared Goff? I think that he's a regular season guy. I'd love to see him play in the playoffs for an extended period of time and not collapse. But for the last year, his growth as a player has been insane. And Jared Goff was my public enemy number one. I had nightmares about Jared Goff throwing interceptions. And he has turned it around. So I think that he's my recipient for the Tutu Atwell Award, and it's better than Grayson Allen.
I'll add to that too. I was looking up stats the other day, of course. And since Tua Tagovailoa got Mike McDaniel. And since Jared Goff had Amon-Ra St. Brown as a number one wide receiver, that one game that Amon-Ra broke out against the Vikings, they have put up identical stats. And it's unbelievable. Obviously Tua's getting a lot of praise right now. Well-deserved. He's played awesome. And that system is insane. Jared Goff has been right there with them. So I think that is a great choice for your Tutu Atwell Award.
It hurt me. It hurt me because I've only slandered Jared Goff for about 5 years. But Jared, I love you. I'm sorry.
That's some growth right there, man.
I was going to say, this is what we call growth. I never thought we'd see the day where you...
and Jared Goff for Kyle.
Kyle's a new man.
Beach is reverse growing, talking about how much he loves Grayson Allen. That's the worst.
You call that shrinking, Kyle.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, reverse growing.
Oh, that's good. Well, you've always got anything else?
Nah, man.
All right. Well, hey, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Find us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. X. I'm sorry. Find us on X, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. That's Bingo Pod. We will see you next time. Deuces, everybody.
Love you. Bye.
Peace.